Hi guys, just wanted to share this with you. It's not a camera review, so please don't bombard me with loads of questions, but it's just a little bit of about an experience I've had with cameras. And I've just bought this little handy cam, and I'll go through that in a minute. But I bought it mainly for use on my YouTube videos, because I've been using these two cameras. This is a Finepix S7000, and that has very poor quality on the videos, very low resolution, but that's where I started. In fact, I bought it as a stills camera and only really sort of found out about the video capability later, but that got me started on YouTube, and I've got some, I don't know, 270 videos now. But most of my videos have been on a camera like this. In fact, that's what I'm using now to record this. This is the first one I bought, and it developed a fault on this little USB connector. It sometimes works, sometimes fails. I've opened it up and tried to look at the wiring in there, but boy, it's a nightmare. So I'm using one of these cameras on the tripod now, and I modified this. I took the LED out because I didn't want the red light showing when the video's on, because that reflected off things. The focusing is miserable because it's either a yard or just over a meter. Sorry, it's either a meter or just over a yard, 39 inches, which isn't very good, or it's got a close-up, and the close-up distance is about 6 inches, so I've actually got a knot in a piece of string and I look at something, and because I can't see the back of the screen very clearly. And then I've made another lens which sticks on magnetically, and then that allows me to work at that sort of distance, and that's great. I've made a load of videos with that, and I've had a lot of fun with this camera. But it's useless when you take it outside. Get it in the sun, you simply cannot see the screen. So I went out with the intention of buying a camera, a single lens reflex camera, so as I could look through the viewfinder and take the video. And boy, it's a nightmare. It's a real minefield. And finding somebody that can answer all of the questions that you have is extremely difficult. And I say, I'm not setting out to answer any questions, so please don't ask them. But you look at this and you sort of think, oh, well, that looks like a single lens reflex camera. But it's actually what's called a bridge camera. And what happens with this sort of camera, when you look through the viewfinder, you're actually looking at a little TV screen in there. Whereas with a single lens reflex camera, when you look through the viewfinder, you look through the lens that you're taking the image with. That didn't really bother me, and in fact the implications never occurred to me. So I went to the camera shop and I thought I was going to buy something like a Cannon, I think it's a 600D, which looks a bit like this, but it's a single lens reflex camera, and it's capable of taking very good video, and of course you get interchangeable lenses, and all of the good things that you get from Canon. So the main thing I wanted was something so as I could look, that I could look through the viewfinder and see while I'm taking a video. And after talking to the guy in the shop for quite some time, he sort of said, oh, well, actually, when you're looking through when you're taking video, you can't look through the viewfinder, because on a single lens reflex camera, the mirror pops up, and that, of course, blinds the viewfinder. So, you read all these wonderful things about how marvellous they are, but then when you start looking at the combination of the features that they've got, you realise, the one thing I wanted was to be able to look through the viewfinder and take the video. So that put that to bed. Then I started looking at bridge cameras, and with cameras like this that take video, you find there's another limitation. You can only take so many minutes, say 10 minutes of continuous video, and then the wretched thing's shut down on you. Again, I didn't know that. It hasn't been a problem that I've had before, but well, it's another limitation. So I come out of supposedly what's supposed to be the biggest camera shop in Wales. I hadn't got an answer. So I went to Curry's, which is a place where they just churn equipment out and they'll say yes to whatever you want it, to a large extent. I won't do them down completely, but they've got such a range of stuff that people cannot answer all of your questions because they simply don't know. And in fact, this is the camera that I bought, which is nothing like what I went in for, and the guy I was talking to was actually somebody that worked in the warehouse. But the one thing it hasn't got that I really went out to buy was something with a viewfinder. But I thought, well, as most of what I do is in my workshop with these videos, I'm going to forego the viewfinder, as this has got some other features that are going to be very helpful to me. And in fact, now I've got it home. In fact, only this morning, I bought it 2 days ago, and only this morning I found it's got a feature on it that isn't very well described in the manual. So anyway, I'll show you some close-ups of this camera, and then I'll show you the results that I'm getting with it. But guys, if you're going out to buy a camera, I tell you, I've read reviews, I've contacted people, I've tried to find out as much as I can, but it's a nightmare. It really is buyer beware. I think you need to buy something from somebody that can recommend it, because they're using it for exactly the same use as you want. This is only an 8.9 megapixel still camera, so it's not brilliant, but it's a HD camera. Right, I'll get you some close-ups. So that's the camera. The power charger goes in the side there. The battery. It wakes up when you open the panel, and it opens fairly quickly, so you could start shooting now. And that's something that I have a problem with the ZI-8. It takes about 6 seconds to wake up. And well, let's just have a look there. You see, it's got quite an amazing zoom on there. I'd say this little macro facility, you can see the little flower lit up, and it's a touch screen, which wouldn't have been my first choice, but I only just found that macro facility this morning. But it has 55 times zoom. I never quite know how they've done this, but this is a 30 times optical zoom, and then I guess the software for the 55, but I'll show you that in a second. The zoom controls on there, so there and there, or on the screen here. And it's nice and slow when you do it on the screen. And then it's got this little thing that covers the shutter. So you can see here, this is HDR-CX320, and on the box it says E, so I guess that's a European version, because we have PAL, and it's 8.9 megapixels for the still images. But it's but it's HD. I don't know what progressive means. Probably means it's not HD at all. But I think it's going to be adequate for what I want. But one of the reasons I bought this particular model is it's got this microphone facility, so for an external mic, which it seemed to be hard to find on a little camera like this. I don't know why it says plug-in power, and you can't find out from the manual or the guy in the shop. But anyway, when I plug a mic in there, it works. So the little conventional electric mic works. So whether or not it puts a sort of a few volts out to drive that or what, I don't know. But anyway, it works. Right, I'm not going to go through all the features in this and say don't ask me questions, guys. But I'll show you some of its capability. And one of the things I wanted was the low light capability. So you see that that little jar of nuts under there is really in the dark. And it's that ability to capture those darkened images that I think I'm going to have some fun with. So what I'll do is, I'm now shooting with the Sony camera, is I'll make a comparison between the Sony and the ZI-8. But typically, you see, I'm working against a harsh backlight. The blind's closed there. If I open the blind, I think it'll wash everything out. Don't know. Certainly it would with the Kodak. But this ability to be able to zoom in, I've got a control over the speed of zoom. I can zoom in fast or slow, which is pretty good. I'm very happy with that. Image stabilization is a funny thing to get used to. It's a bit like the camera's moving through treacle. It's quite odd. Okay, so I say that's the Sony, and that's going to be very good for me, I think. So I'll just run a bit of video with the ZI-8. So to give you some idea, I think that's a fair old range to cover. I think that's a pretty remarkable range for such a little camera. Anyway, as I say, I'm not setting out to make a review. I'm just sharing a little bit of my experience with you. Anyway, guys, I hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.